What, bro? The entire hip-hop community is demanding that comedian Aries Spears be fired after he entered the studio disrespectfully and started a fire. Aries did more than disparage Kendrick Lamar in a now-viral interview footage. Kendrick isn't even close to the top 20 greatest of all time, he said, dismissing him outright. His music doesn't move the culture like you guys pretend it does. Hold on, wait. You're referring to the Pulitzer Prize-winning Great National Tour, which was dominated by lyrical savants like us, and put the industry in a chokehold. Aries genuinely believed he could say it while maintaining a straight face, but Twitter is pulling him in the response. Reactors on YouTube are attacking him. Comedians are also separating themselves. Unbelievably, though, some fans are beginning to concur with Aries. Is Kendrick's name being pursued by a comedian with influence? Or is it true that Aries thinks Kendrick is being overhyped? Kendrick's team too. The news is that they have already replied, although in an unexpected manner. This just evolved from a disorganized viewpoint to a cultural disaster. Let's examine Aries' statement, its impact, and the hidden shade that Kendrick revealed a few hours later. The last person anyone anticipated to stir off a cultural earthquake in hip-hop this week was Aries Spears. Yes, Aries. The outspoken comedian is well known for his uncensored hot views, celebrity impressions, and edgy stand-up. However, he went too far this time. He degraded Kendrick Lamar's influence rather than merely questioning it. Proud, loud, and unapologetically. It all began when Aries was asked to list his personal top 5 hip-hop musicians of all time during a podcast interview on the Behind the Smoke show. That's cool, isn't it? It's safe to ask that. Aries was innocuous until a WSN single quoted TTO. I don't even think about the new cats at Kendrick, he cool, but let's be real, he ain't even close to my top 20. The host attempted to laugh it off, but Aries doubled down. You guys act like Kendrick, walk on water, that boy, boring. Avoid relocating the streets. Keep the culture intact. What a cool, aware rap asterisk. At the cookout, though, isn't anyone bumping it? Strip club, perhaps? Do you want authentic hip-hop? Pay attention to Yoticus. The artist's fartsy mess, isn't it? There was silence at the table. The comment section went crazy. The video became viral on X, formerly Twitter, in a matter of hours. Responses began to flood hip-hop from all directions. Not only were fans stunned, they were incensed. Voiceovers, memes, and screenshots. Aries Spears was spotted out here talking as if he had released an album in the last 25 years. Kendrick Hive got together like the Avengers and went right to war at TDE Faithful. Bro, just sit this one out. When Aries said that Kendrick wasn't his favorite, he was actually calling him an overrated, fraudulent, and lyrical artist who was pushed to GOAT status by culture critics rather than the streets. This touched a nerve because Kendrick Lamar isn't just another rapper. This is the same guy who was roasted by Lizzo fans and never recovered, and now he wants to come for Kendrick. The rapper is him, recipient of the Pulitzer Prize, an iconic figure who has contributed to Pimp's classics, Mad City, and Good Kid, Mr. Moral, The Big Steppers, and A Butterfly. DAMN whole continents are being sold out on his Grand National Tour. Additionally, his hit song, Not Like Us, transformed a rap feud into a cultural revolution. Who then is Aries Spears to claim that he doesn't even rank in the top 20? Here's the problem, though. When it comes to criticizing black entertainers, Aries has a past. Do you recall his accusation against Lizzo that she was encouraging obesity and that no one wanted to witness that on stage? Days passed while he was dragged. And now that he perceives himself as a sort of cultural watchdog, it appears that he is pursuing Kendrick rather than clout. However, that watchdog tactic is backfiring since an odd thing began to happen as the interview video circulated. Well-known comedians began unfollowing Aries. Videos of him making fun of hip-hop culture have surfaced again. Industry insiders started telling tales about Aries Spears' long-standing grudges, particularly against younger, highly regarded black musicians. Aries used to pontificate off stage about how woke musicians are soft and that Kendrick wasn't genuine enough to be famous, according to a source at a comedy club in Los Angeles. This resentment has been with him for a while, thus this wasn't novel. The water beneath the surface was boiling. The fact that Kendrick Lamar himself was observing, however, caught Aries off guard, as Kendrick's official YouTube channel unexpectedly posted a little preview a few hours after the video became viral. Rain sounds on a black screen, and one outstanding statement, "Don't stand out," simply alters everything. A text message that read, 713 just watch, followed. No thumbnail, no caption, no background, and no Kendrick Lamar teaser. And the fans went crazy. In addition, tips stated at left foots, this man about to respond with a visual that'll make Aries Spears unemployable. At Lamar loyalists said, Kendrick cooking in Aries, you just gave him fuel. Furthermore, according to insiders, the preview is connected to an imminent Kendrick video drop in which he discusses contempt from the industry, hatred across generations, and the comedy industry's exploitation of hip-hop for views. Yes, this is war, not simply gloom. Even stranger is the fact that Kendrick's camp hasn't contacted Aries. No DM, no phone call, nothing. Nothing but quiet and a countdown clock. If history is any indication, Kendrick rarely responds. However, by the time the Kendrick teaser was released, he had already ended careers. As if he had something to prove, Aries Spears was already increasing. The level of his disdain? He did the one thing no one anticipated, rather than walking it back. Within 48 hours, he returned to another podcast. This time, even made fun of Kendrick Lamar's voice and claimed that he raps like he's reading a dissertation. Mocked Kendrick's voice by mimicking his dramatic delivery and high-pitched flow. Aries gave the microphone a snort. He is treated like a prophet by you all. I treat him like an NPR segment with beats. The internet gulped. It wasn't hilarious this time. That was blatantly insulting. Even the podcast's hosts were uneasy as they attempted to laugh it off. However, before the concert even concluded, the video had already gone viral. Things began to spiral out of control. At that point, everyone began to voice their opinions, including authors, comedians, rappers, and fans. Aries Spears is responsible for the existence of the phrase, falling off at Real Talk Shay. At Sala Snaps. The man went from loving TV to detesting it. For gas money, Himrichik received a GoFundMe and a Pulitzer. However, this is where things became very severe. This was posted by a former Mad TV writer who collaborated with Aries in his heyday. When we booked hip-hop guests that he didn't, Aries used to detest it. Similar. Even when GKMC was booming, he considered Kendrick dull. This hatred is personal because it has been simmering since 2012. This suddenly had nothing to do with taste. Ego was the cause. Aries Spears believed he had been abandoned by the culture. Kendrick came to represent that change. However, just when everyone thought Kendrick would respond with a song or a veto response, at precisely 7:03 p.m., TDE initiated contact. The upcoming night of Kendrick Lamar versus Aries Spears. A blurry image of Kendrick in the studio was shared on Top Dog Entertainment's official Instagram account, standing in front of a microphone with a hood up. Some things don't require bars. The caption reads, "The last time Kendrick's team wrote anything like that was just before the world stopped and the Heart Part 5 dropped, so the internet went crazy. They need moments. See y'all Friday." Aries Spears, however, refused to give up. He shared it on his Instagram story. All of these emotions toward a rapper. You don't play in your actual life, as you are well aware. I said what I said. His error was that he was no longer merely prodding Kendrick. He was making fun of him. Story's first significant twist then appeared. Unprecedented online video of Kendrick from a private event in Maroyist. Kendrick makes fun of black creativity while speaking openly about comedic culture. Until it becomes your trauma, it's always funny. They'll call it a set after making fun of your voice, your suffering, and your people. However, they label you sensitive when you react with authority. The clip struck with force. You could feel the pain in his tone. They went off at damned large dude fans. The art of this man comes allowing a washed-up comedian to make jokes about his delivery because of generational trauma. The issue with Aries Spears' contempt at Black Culture Club isn't about her music. Rather, it's about her rejection, and it's coded. Subsequently, the industry's reaction transformed this internet drama into a full-fledged cultural conflict. Yes, Issa Rae is the creator of Insecure, the cultural queen, and a real-life influencer. "This generation fights through bars," she wrote in a tweet. "Guess which one creates legacies?" Boom. The last one makes fun of it with resentment. Questlove then shared the video of Aries making fun of it. "Cool," Kendrick responded, using a facepalm emoji, or clowning Pulitzer winners. Now let's return to making fun of Miles Davis. All of a sudden, hip-hop fans weren't the only ones dragging Aries. He was being expelled from the cultural community. Here's the twist, though. There is a report that the next video that will be released on Friday is not a diss tune, according to a source close to Kendrick's camp. The comedian who never grew up is a full-fledged mockumentary skit. The film, which is set in a dimly lit comedy club, purports to show Kendrick as a comedian who silently watches the audience. Evidently, based on Aries' ridicule of black culture for white amusement, Aries Spears' show's Cancelled concludes with Kendrick entering the stage, grabbing a microphone, and delivering 3 lines. "When history murmurs your name, and it's not even on the list, you don't have to scream, that's the funny thing about Legacy. Fans are already labeling it a career ender, and it's finished before it's even been released." In the meantime, Aries Spears' performances are being canceled. In a statement, a Houston comedy club said, "Due to recent backlash and community feedback, Aries Spears' scheduled performance has been postponed indefinitely. Bro, Kendrick didn't have to drop a bar, didn't tweet, didn't diss. The culture do what it does best, protect its legends." However, it's rumored that Kendrick might still release a surprise song because Top Dog concluded their Instagram story by saying that some people require more than silence. They require prompts. Additionally, Aries might not be canceled outright if Kendrick releases a song in the mockumentary. After being paraded around the internet for days on end, he will be forgotten. At last, Aries Spears began to feel the strain. His performances were being canceled. His booking with the DC Comedy Club was canceled. Another in Atlanta removed all promotion. Old videos of him bombing on stage were being reposted on Instagram sites. Additionally, rather than encouraging the future, comedians such as Godfrey, Roy Wood Jr., and Dion Cole had begun subtly disparaging him in their tweets about soiled legends and battling it. Kendrick Lamar, meanwhile, said nothing, just silence, no interviews, no verses, no tweets. However, the culture was more vocal than ever. The teaser for the comedian who never grew up received 10 million views in a single day. Fans were already referring to the video as a career obituary before it had even been released. When the culture turned against him, Aries did what any frantic entertainer would do: spiral. Not just any backup was called in by him. According to reports, Aries called DL Hughley, a fellow comedian and media figure well known for criticizing politics, culture, canceling, and generational divides. According to a Hot 97 producer, Aries nearly pleaded with DL to defend him on television during their private call. "This new generation is soft," DL is the message. "They have no idea what true comedy is. Assist me in expressing myself." This is where things get crazy, though. Rather than assisting the following morning, Aries, DL Hughley went on his own radio show and lost it. Live on television. Although he didn't specifically mention Aries, everyone was aware of who he was referring to. Maybe it's time to change if you're a comedian and the studio went silent. If you want to stay relevant, you need to clown a man like Kendrick Lamar. I'm not sure who needs to hear this. Occupations, he went on. The last thing a black man needs in this profession is another black man ripping him down for having substance, especially one who's done more for the community than half the people making jokes about him. There was silence in the studio. Callers started crowding the phone lines. Black Radio King caused a Twitter explosion. On live radio, DL Hughley just scolded Aries Spears. That's a funeral. Aries truly believed that DL would save him and missed too much. But this isn't 2002. Now the voice is Grandpa Kendrick. Suddenly, the comic pioneers began to retreat. Quick, Aries was requesting a guest spot to explain his remarks, according To a Breakfast Club source, they said no. Dave Chappelle apparently startled everyone during a surprise pop-up gig in San Francisco after Hot Joe Budden's podcast completely ghosted his representative. During a Q&A session, Dave deviated from the script when asked about his thoughts on the Aries versus Kendrick conflict. "Ain't nobody in this room doubting who the genius is?" Dave simply sipped his beer and laughed, adding, "And it damn sure ain't." The dude yelling at podcasts? The audience erupted. It was implied that Kendrick was untouchable. It's even by Chappelle, one of the most protected characters in comedy. Aries was not appropriate. Aries was still unable to be silent, though. He attempted to play victim when he went live on Instagram later that evening with just 800 people. "Everyone is behaving as though Kendrick is a deity. I said what I said, don't. Behave like I killed someone, even if you disagree with me," he hesitated. Where's the right to free speech? However, the comments didn't agree. "My kid, freedom of speech does not equate to freedom from repercussions. I don't mind that you have an opinion. We're upset that you don't regard us. Now don't cry. You were the first to laugh." The comment was then pinned by someone. "Kendrick made you perspire without uttering a single word." And just when it seemed that Aries would be too ashamed to blush anymore, Bet gave up the last nail. According to an insider, Aries had been taken into consideration for planned a Comedy Rose special that was filmed later this year. But his name was taken off the list following the criticism of his remarks on Kendrick. According to the source, one executive stated, "We can't build comedy by tearing down culture heroes, especially not right now. Fans think Kendrick's quiet is deliberate, as he hasn't been vanquished." Hours after the Aries interview aired, a Stillness Ain't Soft insider revealed that Kendrick had recorded a spoken word piece, and it isn't limited to Aries. Passages about how black artists are treated disrespectfully for the sake of performance, clout, and cheap laughs. The piece, which is allegedly titled Stillness Ain't Soft, will be released on the same day as Double Hit Silent Strike. Message delivered, a mockumentary spoof. Spears, Aries. He desired a moment that went viral. He was rejected by the entire civilization since, in reality, you can't tack like a prophet and expect no one to take sides. Additionally, Kendrick's name is currently associated with terms like impact, legacy, and discipline, whereas Aries is associated with terms like bitterness, irrelevance, and washed and washed. This was not a discussion. This served as a warning. He hasn't even raised his voice yet, Kendrick. It was indisputable. By now, Aries' spears had caused a cultural storm, but the aftershocks were genuine. They didn't originate from social media fans. Were coming from those who really held the reins of power. TV networks, agencies, touring managers, streaming behemoths, and the first business titan to respond. Netflix a few days prior to the criticism. Early negotiations for Aries Spears to star in a low-budget, edgy stand-up special fourth platform, which features unfiltered voices in a new experimental comedy series. However, that contract fell through after Aries' viral outburst and is disrespectful. Treatment of Kendrick Lamar. An insider from Netflix's comedy section claims that we quietly terminated Aries as it became evident that he was alienating not only viewers but also a dawn and a whole generation of artists and innovators. Our review system has now flagged his names. Yes, it has been flagged. It didn't end there either. According to reports, Aries Spears' request for a special with the note was rejected by Amazon Prime. Our current goal of elevating black voices is not in line with your brand. Sheesh, even though Kendrick Lamar hadn't tweeted anything. The internet was still whirling around him like a cyclone. Aries assumed it was merely a fan reaction. However, Kendrick's quiet was an act of domination rather than vulnerability. The world speaks for Kendrick when he doesn't. Hip-hop sacred was a noisy place. Kendrick silently gave a masterclass. Aries let out a sound. Who do you think is being removed from comedy lineups? The contempt at culture curator extended beyond Kendrick. It was a test of what black artists could do. Denotes today. The entire business turned against Aries because of this. Even sacred Kendrick veterans from the industry began to step in. The video of Aries making fun of him was shared by Ava DeVere. Some things you laugh at, some things you fight against. This ain't comedy. It's bitterness masked as punchlines, reads the caption, which features Kendrick's voice subsequently. Spotify discreetly deleted Aries Spears' previous comedy CD from its collection of stand-up songs. Legends simply vanished without notice or announcement. Our playlists reflect where culture is going, not where it used to be. Kendrick is the future. Aries isn't. Damn, said a person close to Spotify's editorial staff to Hip Hop Radar. The team behind Aries Spears attempted to twist it. They released a general press release. Aries supports the freedom of comic expression and sticks to his convictions. Will keep doing what he loves and intends no damage to any artists. However, since the harm had already been done, no one was buying it. Not even his fellow comedians were standing up for him anymore. Speaking his thoughts, Corey Holcomb stated, "On his live stream, you can have opinions. That's fine. But if you disrespect your brand, don't be upset when you don't receive the same respect in return. That man is a symbol of something sacred, Kendrick." He didn't know who he was playing with Aries. That's the secret, isn't it? Because bars are nothing compared to Kendrick Lamar. He is now an institution. He stands for community, creativity, and consciousness. Things that societies have been yearning for more of, not less of. Therefore, it wasn't just shade when Aries made fun of Kendrick's voice. It was also a reference to the kind of musician Kendrick is. The industry clearly saw it as a cultural warning sign. You either fade out or adapt to the times, Kendrick Legions wrote. Aries chose violence. Guess who's still winning without saying a word? Kendrick went with legacy. Teed, meanwhile, carried on with its silent marketing massacre. PG Lang released new merchandise titled "Silence Speaks Louder," a black hoodie with a quotation printed on the sleeve and no logos or other details. "I own the Echo, but you made fun of the message." In 17 minutes, the entire collection was sold out. The bar count in Kendrick's first verse of the Heart portion is the same as this one. Whoosh. Is it a coincidence? Not in the opinion of fans. This was petty on an artistic level. It was magnificent. Charlemagne Thaw God disclosed on air that Aries had applied for an interview but was rejected, just when it seemed that Aries Spears could take no more blows. Why? The Kendrick issue isn't the only one. It's the vitality. You can't go viral for hate and then plead for pity. Culture doesn't accept it. Mockumentary of Kendrick Lamar, this is where we are at the moment. Without a single bar, Kendrick remained silent as his team won the conflict. You come for the culture, you come for Kendrick. And then, oh, it's not over, says Aries Spears, radioactive in the industry. Since Kendrick's mockumentary video will be released in less than a day, just now, a leaked excerpt came to light. And you know what? Fans assume that the final remark is aimed directly at Aries. "Silence became renowned because of me." Made the sound unforgettably loud. Whoosh. It was midnight. Without any prior notice, interviews, or promotion, Kendrick Lamar abruptly released the music video, "The Comedian Who Never Grew Up." In 5 minutes, Ethod won 6 million views. Twitter was on fire within 15 minutes. YouTube comment sections were bursting at the seams. Additionally, Aries Spears' career appeared to be a chalk. Outlined by the end of the brief 6-minute film, the black and white mockumentary began. With his arms crossed and his gaze fixed on a stand-up comedian performing, Kendrick sat in a dimly lit venue. The loud, sweating, cracking, exhausted comments about rappers that sounded like therapy sessions were made by the character who was obviously based on Aries. In the video, the audience was utterly silent. There was a thump with each punchline. Each insult reverberated as if it were out of place. Kendrick simply stared without blinking or grinning. Then Erevith movie's last twist. After leaving the stage, the comedian attempts to meet Kendrick. "In the corridor, man, hurry up. It's only a joke. We are both performers, aren't we? You had the mic. You used it to mock the pain. I used mine to survive it," Kendrick says, staring him in the eyes. Slice 2. Dark dot. The last screen then. "Appeared, it's not soft to be still." The echo goes on. "Hugh, and just when you believed it to be the last hit, my friend, 3 minutes after the video was released, Kendrick's official X page appeared, which led to the cliffhanger, shared a snippet of an unreleased phone conversation. The voice was recognizable, deep and gruff. A dot. It turned out to be Scarface. Yes, Mr. Mind is deceiving me. A legend of Southern rap. Scarface is also hot in the audio. It's the same clown. Nevertheless, in 2006, Pac was overrated. I didn't mind back then, but now you're making fun of Kendrick as well? No, it's time to go. He goes on. We overindulged in these courtly gestures. It's actual ones seep into these. Versus, let M speak. There are no more passes. Not to mention that Aries Spears gained notoriety early on for making fun of Tupac in skits, and even accusing him of being too emotional in interviews. Brew, the OGs are back. People didn't like it, but you got away with it in those days. Not now. His past is now coming to light again. The floodgates were just unleashed by Kendrick's video. Ice Cube was quickly tagged by fans. Talib Kweli, Common, and Killer Mike. Oh my god, the cliffhanger. Common then tweeted a fire emoji over the Kendrick video, writing, "Some voices fade, some echo. Choose wisely." The fact that Aries Spears is finished is